Hello everyone, I'm Jinyu. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Many friends are aware that oral ulcers and swollen gums are due to internal heat in the body. Initially, taking some heat-removing medicine might seem to help, but the problem often recurs. One day you might feel a bit better, and the next day worse. This internal fire seems impossible to extinguish. At such times, fans reach out to me for adjustment. The first thing I do is ask them to send a photo of their tongue coating. Many people have a hot on top, cold on bottom tongue. What are its characteristics? The tip of the tongue is particularly red, indicating heat, while the root of the tongue is white and indicates cold, often with poor digestion. Most people respond by saying they can't eat hot food as it causes internal heat. Nor can they eat cold food as it leads to diarrhea. Such individuals are quite common, and they also tend to have bad breath and indigestion due to congestion in the middle burner of the body. The most obvious feature is that their abdomens are hard. I tell everyone that the best solution is not endless clearing of heat and detoxification, but rather to guide the fire downward, allowing a convection of cold and heat to unblock the body. This involves our middle burner, the spleen and stomach, and allows the upper and lower parts of the body to communicate smoothly, solving the problem. Healthy individuals. In other words, a healthy body only has a convection of cold and heat, so that the hot areas are not too hot, and the cold areas are not always cold. How to unblock the middle burner? I suggest using the abdominal pushing method to gently massage the abdomen. This process is very good and can effectively unblock the middle burner. Additionally, one can practice Vara exercises. Apart from this, it's also important to focus on mental nourishment. We often say that 3 parts are cure and 7 parts rely on nourishment. We emphasize the combination of treatment and nourishment, giving equal importance to both. If you need treatment, I recommend a famous prescription by Zhang Zongjing called Xizintang, Heart Draining Decoction. You can consider this formula, but whether it's suitable or not depends on a TM doctor's diagnosis. For nourishment, I recommend a food-based ingredient derived from the Xizintang Forgot decoction, an upgraded breakfast porridge that can effectively support the nourishment of the spleen and stomach. Most people have a certain weakness in the body, and they're prone to ulcers. When ulcers spread, everyone knows it's due to excessive heat. Then the flesh begins to decay, indicating the presence of an ulcer. How to save yourself? I want to tell everyone that you must understand this, no matter if it's a cold syndrome or a heat syndrome, or a deficiency syndrome. At this time, traditional Chinese medicine may diagnose you with mixed cold and heat. So, the prescription by Zhang Zongjing is actually quite good. Whether it can be used or not, as I always say, you need to consult a doctor. However, you can note it down. It starts with roasted licorice, astragalus, dried ginger, Pinellia, juju, and coptis. Remember this formula, but I remind everyone that you must consult a TM doctor to see if it's suitable. How many pills to use, and the count must be determined by a TM doctor's diagnosis. I would also like to remind everyone that if you don't have oral ulcers, traditional Chinese medicine calls it mouth sores. Traditional Chinese medicine does not have a term for oral ulcers, but it is called mouth sores. If you have acne on your face, traditional Chinese medicine speaks of comito. Season 10 is not specifically for treating acne, nor is it specifically for solving mouth sores. Speaking of this, many friends may say that if it doesn't solve these problems, what is this formula for? Shan Songjin said that this formula is for treating Hu disease, a term from ancient Chinese medicine. Some people may not be familiar with this term. Let me tell you, it sounds a bit mysterious, but in today's terms, it refers to mucosal system diseases. Treatise on cold damage and miscellaneous diseases also has this record. If it affects the marquis, it is a disaster. If it feeds on the yin, it is a barbarian. Combine, it is paste or kick. Listen, which character contains the meaning of ulceration? That is the meaning of corrosion and decay. You can also separate it. Is it a cross next to a bug, which can also mean being bitten by a bug, and then a piece of flesh rots? So it must not be a bug making trouble. Everyone knows that Zhang Songjing lived in the Eastern Han Dynasty, and the conditions were very harsh, living in a stuffy and damp environment for a long time. Eroded by these damp evils, people are prone to this disease. So, in a turbid and toxic environment, this damp evil often causes damage to our bodies. Attentive friends will find that Xinshi Tang has both cold and hot medicine, mainly for heat syndrome. Wouldn't it be better to simply use a formula for clearing heat and detoxifying? That's what everyone thinks, but I didn't expect Zhang Zongjing to naturally think so. Zhang Zongjing said, "This is not a heat solution, but because the stomach is empty." Where does the heat come from? It's the external evil, just an endure. The root cause is the emptiness of the stomach. The energy in the stomach is almost consumed. If you simply clear the heat, it will further harm our stomach. So, Gankul Dixon's 10 licorice heart draining decoction is essentially about adjusting the cold and heat. Aren't today's oral ulcers due to the disharmony of cold and heat, mixed cold and heat? So modern people use this formula to solve oral problems, and the effect is quite good. However, as always, whether a TM formula can be used or not depends on the TM doctor to diagnose and prescribe. Remember, don't use it indiscriminately without proper diagnosis. In addition, our fans must know that most of the heat syndromes in the body, such as excessive heat, deficiency heat, most people are hot on top and cold on the bottom, belong to. Excessive heat is yellow and greasy tongue coating, short and red urine, dry stools, acne, oral ulcers, sore throat, dry eyes, bleeding gums, and nosebleed. These phenomena often have external heat, and we also call it external evil, that is, heat evil. It is often because there are real external heat evils, bacteria and viruses at work, so the body's environment is out of balance. However, there is excessive heat and deficiency heat. For example, the tip of the tongue is red, the palms and soles are hot, and there is a tendency to sweat due to yin deficiency. For this, people can use Luodidil 16-ingredient Rehmannia pill, which should not be used indiscriminately. You must consult a professional doctor. I tell everyone to understand this process, and when TM doctors talk to you, you can describe your symptoms clearly. So remember, don't use it immediately after I mention it. You have to consult a TM doctor. However, the dietary therapy I mentioned, you can try if it suits your condition. But we often say that treatment and nourishment are equally important. From the perspective of nourishment, We choose a spleen strengthening and stomach nourishing dietary therapy called Seitan for gut decoction. What is Seitan made of? Lotus seeds, Chinese yam, poria, and ureophoric seeds, and jobs tears. In our view, these four ingredients are actually very common, but their effects are great. We often say lotus seeds are neutral and sweet, which can clear the heart and awaken the spleen, calm the mind and soothe the spirit. The effects of ureophoric seeds are the same. They can replenish the energy in the middle of the body and also benefit the essence. We all know that poria is used to strengthen the spleen and stomach, calm the mind, and soothe the spirit. When you have symptoms, we can diagnose through syndrome differentiation and know which ingredients to add or remove in these dietary therapies, while strengthening the spleen and nourishing the stomach. You must eat for a long time, persist for a period, and harmonize your spleen and stomach so that the middle burner is unblocked. So, unblocking the middle burner is actually very important. Speaking of the middle burner, I want to tell everyone that based on our Seitan, I will make an upgraded version of the breakfast porridge for everyone, and it includes hawthorn and chicken gizzard, which are also experts in digesting food and accumulating. Whether it's the elderly or children, they can eat it. Hawthorn and chicken gizzard are very helpful for our spleen and stomach to digest. Some people may feel dry mouth after drinking Seitan, possibly due to a weak constitution. So, based on the Seitan, we can also make some adjustments. So, you see, I have added Solomon's seal and lily to our upgraded breakfast pot, which can be comprehensive. Therefore, in the turbid and toxic living environment, we must learn to match our diet reasonably and diversify. Most spleen and stomach problems are due to overeating, which will definitely cause problems. So, traditional Chinese medicine often says that too much supplementation leads to stagnation and insufficient discharge, meaning that it cannot be excreted. The blood vessels, meridians, qi, and blood in the body are prone to stagnation, causing discomfort. Because the diet causes stagnation, the first thing is the disharmony of the spleen and stomach. On the basis of solving the problem of spleen and stomach disharmony, we should make it unblocked. So, based on Seitan, combined with the physique of modern people, we have added chicken gizzard, hawthorn, Solomon's seal, and ginseng to promote the balance of intestinal flora. This probiotic stimulates intestinal motility, and food and waste entering the intestines can be promptly expelled. If based on this foundation, we all use the same source of food and medicine, you see, there is also Solomon's seal, which can nourish yin and avoid the emergence of virtual fire in the body. Considering the physique of modern people, those who have used our upgraded 5 elements breakfast pot or 10 dimensions breakfast pot are very clear. I don't need to tell you more. After a period of time, not only has the problem of upper heat and lower cold been solved, but also the problem of cold hands and feet has been solved. People feel that their appetite is getting better and better, and their spirit is getting stronger and stronger. So, as I always say, the spleen and stomach are our acquired foundation to solve the problems of the spleen and stomach. We must first work hard in our diet. Well, that's all for today. Thank you for watching, friends. See you next time. If this program is helpful to you, please forward and share it with more people. Let love be passed on and benefit more people. I am Jinyu. Thank you for watching.